Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
You know what? I don't think I've said it enough. I love this intro music that you
thanks.
made. It's a nice little bop.
I don't even remember
Making it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Is anybody listening?
Yeah, I want to hit this a little harder than normal, and I'm going to try to be very quick with them.
Okay.
But I feel like people had a New Year's resolution to leave us reviews.
Really?
So if I may indulge a little harder than normal, are you okay with that? I'll go quick.
A little. Let's not get crazy.
Okay. First one's from Shiva K. Jesus Christ, how am I supposed to title this thing? Great tactic telling your listeners, particularly the overthinking, anxious, Andy-leaning ones, exactly what to leave for a review. I've oftentimes wanted to show some love for a podcast, but have gotten too overwhelmed trying to come up with something witty or worthwhile to write and ultimately giving up. All this to say, I'm listening. Nailed it.
Amazing.
You nailed it.
Thank you.
This one's from T Sorks 7, inspired to start my own podcast. I've binged this over the last few weeks to catch up and finally leave my 5-star review to fight the good fight against Tolle. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad I waited too, because this episode about the mystery note on the car was one of my favorites. I'm so grateful to Monica. I love listening so much. You've inspired me to convince my wife to start our own similar podcast that we hope to continue for the rest of our days. Hope to get it good enough to publish, and then would be forever grateful for a shout out from our patron saints, Elizabeth and Andy.
Amazing.
I love that. Okay. Hold on. Let me do a couple other ones. I feel lost now. These are all 5-star reviews, by the way. Thank you for the 5 stars.
Thank you.
This one's from Alicia. I first found this podcast thanks to, you guessed it, St. Monica, and immediately binged every episode. I have to wait for the weekly episode to drop for the past month, and I feel lost because of it. I want you both in my life every day. This podcast is so comforting, like a warm hug. Thank you both for continuing to create weekly episodes, and know that if you ever wanted to add in another episode each week, I certainly wouldn't be mad about it. So sweet. Hold on. Let me just do like 2 more. Okay. Listening. This one's from Gil, I think. Always look forward to listening to these two. Andy and Elizabeth are great storytellers and make even the most seemingly mundane life experiences become entertaining. Wow. Sorry for that read, too. And that's so sweet.
That is so sweet. The mundane is our forte.
Here's a pin for this week. Happy listener, Georgie V from Australia.
Ooh, let's get out the globe.
Hi from Perth, Australia. Do I get a pin? You sure do.
You sure do.
Love the podcast. Your conversations always put me in a good mood. Currently listening while packing up our home to move across the country, and it's a perfect distraction from my roller coaster of emotions and anxiety. Also, another thank you to St. Monica for the heads up. I hope this year is a good one for you and your family, and the mystery of the parking note is solved.
Oh, thank you for that wish, that New Year's wish for us. I wish for that too.
We got another Canada review.
Oh.
We got 2 Australia reviews.
Wow.
This one just says, don't write reviews. 5 stars. And
Amazing.
It's 5 stars. Okay, I'll stop there. But anyways, there's more and more and more. Please know that we really do read all of these.
Oh, yes.
And it does put a lot of gas in our tank.
Oh, that's a lovely saying.
It
does.
It really is so sweet.
You guys are gas tank fillers. Thank you. I was looking at something on Amazon the other day, and I had this thought about, looking at the reviews and like the people who leave like an amazing review for a product, but only give it 4 stars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's because that person has this like inner Richter scale of how much they must love something. Like, it's almost like the people who don't say I love you very often, but when they do,
all of this, every single thing you've said for the last 30 seconds seems like really tailored towards me.
I know, but I hope after having podcasts, you because I hope you give the 5 stars. Like, if you're going to review something, if you're going to take the time to leave a review that's positive, I'm not even talking about podcasts. I'm just saying like anything in life. That's fine if you yourself have this Richter scale, or not Richter scale, that's for earthquakes, the scale that you use. And to get the 5, to get the A+, you have such high standards, but then it makes it so meaningful when you do give the A+. But the problem is, like on an Amazon or on a TripAdvisor or whatever
Do
it
an
is.
Amazon. I think that's a good one to
Okay,
use.
on an Amazon, your inner scale that you're using is not the like socially accepted. You're using a different scale than everyone else.
No, but I think if it's if the body of the review itself is like, I would have given this 5 star. Like, I love this thing, and I would have given it 5 stars except for this. That's a helpful
different.
review to me.
That's different.
Okay, what are you
I'm
thinking?
saying that people who are giving 4 stars and then leave nothing but a glowing review. I have like a special place in my heart for them because I think they kind of do remind me of you, although I hope you wouldn't do that now after this life experience. But like, I get them and I appreciate that person, but you're better off just not leaving the review because you're fucking up the algorithm. Because normally I don't
feel
read
like you're
reviews.
just thinking about this in terms of our podcast stars.
No, I thought of this because of an Amazon review I saw recently. And also, sometimes I like to, last or a year and a half ago, whenever it was that I was researching our Hawaii trip, I kind of went down a wormhole of like,
I love those TripAdvisor reviews.
oh my God. I mean, one of them made me weep. Like, some TripAdvisor reviews are so amazing.
Yeah.
And there are those types of reviews. What?
No, keep going. I have plenty to say here, but keep going.
There are those types of reviews where the person says the kindest, most amazing things, and it's still a 4-star review.
Yeah.
And I guess it's like, okay, here's a great example. Our Hawaii trip, 5 stars. That trip was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, if I give that 5 stars and then we go on a trip that everything goes just fine and we feel like we get what we pay for and I want to leave a good review, but is it equivalent of the Hawaii trip? I've already given them 5 stars. So I got to give whoever, our trip to Des Moines 4 stars. But it's not Des Moines' fault that we had a 5-star trip.
Sure. But I guess the hope is, I understand everything you're saying, but I guess the hope is that all of this...
Nothing against Des Moines, by the way, I'm sure. Lovely.
All of this it becomes more and more meaningful the more data there is, right? So like you're getting, you need the more people to do it. All that being said, though, God bless, let's talk about TripAdvisor reviewers. God bless those people that do it, because number one, you're usually doing it if you had a bad experience, which I want to read about. Or you're doing it if you had a really good experience.
Above and beyond.
I want to read about it. Then there's the people in the middle, and there's not enough people in the middle that just would take the time to actually leave the review. So really, God bless those people, I think.
Yeah.
My dad has been known to in the past leave some great reviews where he really goes for it for travel type stuff. Mm-hmm. But anyways, you and me aren't that big of like review people. As far as like on Amazon or TripAdvisor.
True, yeah. I've left some podcast reviews.
I was almost moved to leave a review for Uniqlo.
Oh.
The store at a mall that many of you might be familiar for.
Clothing company.
And it was out of guilt.
What?
Can I tell you what happened?
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's the wrong... This is how... My brain, you are witnessing the birth. For those of you that caught our live stream, the patrons.
Oh, yes. That was so much fun. That was last night. We had a blast.
Thank you for coming. But I do think I showed a part of this self that's getting, I don't even know how to describe it, but I'm becoming, I was joking saying it was like the birth of a troll.
Yes.
But like I am.
Can I give context?
Yeah,
to that?
please.
It
You
was
explain,
so funny.
because I can't find my words.
Okay. on our live stream last night, and I apologize to any patrons who are like, oh, I have to hear this again. But we were talking about the note on the car, which is still in play. And Andy was saying he was thinking about posting on Nextdoor. And I was like, that is a huge mistake. You are going to get obliterated on Nextdoor. People are going to go, well, are you parking in front of your house? And these monsters out here think they can park anywhere, and I have blah, blah, blah. And then there are going to be other people who are like, how can you leave a note like that? Blah, blah, blah. And like fights are going to ensue. It's going to turn into, and Andy right now is like smiling and nodding. He's excited about that. Because that will make him feel alive.
But I was also energized by the idea of like, no, Elizabeth, I think I can craft the perfect Nextdoor post of like that it would be playful and fun and get people on my side, but still convey the problem of the mystery that's going on. I'm spinning out of control right now because I have two big things I want to tell you. And one is this Uniqlo review.
Yeah.
And then I do have like a little update on the car note.
Do the Uniqlo review first.
Perfect.
But Andy had said, I didn't even finish that, his joy at doing this post, he's like, is this the birth of a troll?
Yeah,
like,
because it's all innocent now.
Being jazzed about stirring up outrage amongst people and seeing and getting a kick out of how far he can push people. But no,
yeah, I feel like we're already pulling me into troll land, which it's not that yet. It was just more. I like the idea of trying to figure this.
You wanted the top post.
I want the top post on Nextdoor.
And to get the top post on Nextdoor, it's going to be vicious.
I could get it, but it would turn bad.
Yes.
But I think I could handle it. Anyways, let's move on. So the other day, it was a rainy day in Los Angeles, and I took the kids to the mall, and I had a return for Uniqlo. So, hey, I'm going to return the stuff to Uniqlo. A couple T-shirts and a pair of pants that hadn't worked out. So I got my Uniqlo bag. I got my Uniqlo receipt. I also got my Uniqlo app ready to go in case they need that, because I was like, maybe I don't have the right receipt, you know what I mean? Like, but I got my app with my purchases in there. I'm ready to go.
Uh-huh.
I got my two adorable children with me. Walk into Uniqlo. I get up to the counter. Hey, I'd like to return these. And I said, I think it's this receipt, but I'm not sure. You already have like a face.
That move you just did. I don't know. There's something, but I'm not sure. There was something like Donald Trumpy about it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that actually might make sense in a few minutes here.
Oh, no.
And so the gentleman picks up the receipt and he goes, well, did you get him here? And I was like, I either got him here or I got him at this other location. And he's like, oh, yeah, I can see on this right here. You didn't get him here. You have to take him back to the other location.
No.
Now, thank you for that reaction.
Absolutely not.
Oh, my God. You're on my team here. Well, let me tell you, listener, there was no fucking chance in hell that these people weren't taking back this return, whether or not I got it at the other location or here.
This store has an app. It's not like it's some like mom and pop
exactly.
Okay.
So you comfort me so much by having that reaction. But it gets wild. So I was like, oh, that's a bummer. I actually don't even know, though, if this is like the right receipt. Like, let me look at the app because I bought like quite a few things around the holidays. And then I'm like, is the return, does it say that on the receipt? Is on the return policy? Is this a new thing? And the guy's like, yeah, I think it says it on the receipt, but I can ask my manager. And I was like, that would be great. So he goes to get the manager. Meanwhile, I'm grabbing that receipt and I'm reading the policy, and ruh-roh, it says it right there on the receipt. So that's
annoying.
That's an obstacle. But there is no fucking way I'm carrying these around on a rainy day. Like, you got to take these back for me, right? So the manager comes out, and oh boy, he looks at the receipt and he's like, our return policy, you have to take it to the other store. And I was like, yeah, he told me. I said, I'm not really exactly sure though if they're even on this receipt. And he's like, well, you have to have a receipt to return an item. And I was like, well, can't you look it up through the app or via a credit card? And he's like, no, we can't do that. And I'm like, that sounds like total bullshit to me also. But I don't really know, but I'm feeling I'm getting a lot of bullshit, sort of. And so then I was like, well, can you make this one exception? The whole time I'm being pretty nice. I am being pretty nice. And he's like, well, if you don't have the receipt, I can't help you regardless. And I was like, you can't help me if I find my purchase history in the app? And he's like, oh, maybe. And I was like, can you just look up on the receipt to see
if the items
if
are
this
on it?
is the receipt for these items? Like,
Yeah.
help me, guy. So he does that, takes out the little gun and looks up the receipt. Yes, all these are on this receipt. But now I'm like, I fucking got you, bro, because it's all on your computer. It's all right there. And I was like, you got to help me out. You're telling me you can't
Process a
you
return.
can't do this return. You have it all in front of you. And he's like, our policy, you have to take it to the thing. And then I get a little, I'm
Heated.
like, no, I didn't get heated at all. It's like, you got to do me a solid, man. I'm like, it's raining. I can't take these out. And I just I start becoming a little difficult. And this guy, when I tell you he loathed me, he turned on me and you could see every ounce of his being was like, I fucking hate this guy.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
And what he hated was that he caved and he did the return right there. And then, because he knew I was going to keep going. But he knew guys like me and he hates guys like me. And I understand it. But he expressed it in his being so much that when I left, I felt so guilty. I couldn't even enjoy the triumph of, I fucking know you can take these clothes back. Like, there's no world in which you can't. Don't tell me you can't. I couldn't even enjoy that.
Well, listen, I think you're right. That's not the place from which you want to leave a review. Second of all,
It was going but it was going to be a positive review of guilt.
I know.
Okay, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be that this asshole could have helped me quicker.
No, I knew that you were going to leave but have you ever worked in retail? I haven't, actually. It's like the one job I haven't had.
I dated a girl that did, and she stole lots of things and got fired.
Yeah.
From 2 different places. That was probably a
Your
sign.
college girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did I know? Andy's college girlfriend was very cool. Very cool.
Hold on. You're pulling us off track.
Wait, hang on.
I'm also
I have a response. You just spoke for 45 minutes about this.
I also want to address
receipt.
that you got really mad when I did sound effects for the receipts, and shame on you.
It's because it's like, okay, like, get with it. Let's keep going. We don't need it sound effects. Maybe I'm sure all of our listeners hate me right now. Our listeners are the checkout guy right now to me. I had an experience doing a return at J. Crew.
Yeah.
And not the same experience, but the guy, I think working in retail sucks similar to working at a restaurant. Like, if you've worked there, like people who have worked in the restaurant industry, typically are pretty cool to servers and I don't know, it kind of changes your perception of things a little bit.
Yeah.
Similarly, I think I'm trying to give this guy a little grace. Like, he's just like, fuck. But at J. Crew, this guy took back my return.
Yeah.
But kind of had an attitude about it and was like, he just went ahead and did it.
Yeah.
But he's like, we're not supposed to do returns on clearance items, but just this once, I'm going to do it for you.
Kudos to you. I've never even tried to return a clearance item. Most people know that's a no-no. You just got my respect.
Most people know that's a no-no. But I also was like, and I was very gracious to him. Like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
To be honest, I had no fucking idea they were clearance. You know, you just order stuff and you're like, I like it. And
Yeah, you're throwing in promo codes. Who the fuck knows?
who the fuck knows? But he said it in a way, and also he's like, just this one time. I'm like, you
don't give a shit.
You don't know me. You're not gonna like keep track of me. Like, here she comes again. Remember that time?
Yeah.
But also, it was this weird kind of like discipline, whereas he could have just been like a little like, hey, this is actually clearance, but you know what? I'm going to do you a solid.
And then you feel...
And then I would have been like, you are amazing.
Yes.
But instead I had to be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. But it's, again, and we all know this and we all should take a step back. We don't know what's happening with that person in their day. Imagine the Uniqlo guy, 30 minutes, another guy comes in to try to pull what I did. That guy might get punched in the face. You know what I mean? Because of me.
The wrath. Yeah, you'd never know.
But the other thing is, it's like these people, it's like they don't care. It's like, and also when he did pull up the receipt and I was like, aha, I got him, you know? It took, I swear, he punched like 3 buttons and it was like, here's your refund. You know what I mean? It was like, it wasn't hard to do.
Right.
That's besides the point. But anyways, I felt so bad for a minute, which does not go with this new attitude I have of like wanting to find the car note person and like all that. Yeah,
what's the update on the car note?
Yeah. So it's a huge update.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah, I've been trying to.
You have a huge update?
I've been... Yeah, I do. I really do. So.
Oh my God. What? Yeah. When? Yeah. Since when?
Yesterday. I haven't told you any of this.
Okay.
It was not Virgil. Okay?
Virgil.
You might be asking, who is Virgil?
I am asking that. Is he our elderly neighbor?
Yes.
Okay.
The people across the street. The number one suspect at this point. The people whose doorbell I had rang many times, too many times. It wasn't them.
How do you know? What happened?
Okay, so I'm going to get a haircut, and I get in the car. I'm with the kids, and I'm pulling out, and it's like out of the corner of my eye.
I'm like starting to shake with what this means.
I see him getting out of his car.
Yeah.
In front of their house, right? So I'm making a turn. And literally, it was like we were running late for the haircut. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, I can't. But then I'm like, what are you thinking? This is
it.
This is your moment. And so I pull the car over to the side and then I roll down the window and oozing friendliness. Mm-hmm. Hey, how are you? And he looks and smiles. He's like, hi. And I'm like, I live in the house right there. And he's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, hey, you didn't happen to leave a note on my car a couple weeks ago? And I was like, because, you know, sometimes we park I park on the side near your house. And he's like smiling and he's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, no, I didn't leave a note. Or I didn't leave a note. And he's being so friendly.
Okay.
And
this is why I was so confused.
And then he also had some confusion about like our old landlords, like, and us, I think, and not confusing us, but like didn't understand, I think, how long we've lived there, maybe even. And so we introduce each other, we say each other's names, and I even like circle back on it because he was showing some confusion, almost thinking that I think he thought I at first had said someone told us not to park in front of our house.
Oh.
And so then I'm getting worried, him thinking that, like, as absurd as this worry is, but how important it is to me to get to the bottom, I was thinking in my head, like, well, I can't be sure because what if he thinks I'm asking, did he leave a note that said don't park in front of our house But he did leave a note that said, don't park on the side of his house, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's
you
absurd.
want clarity, but yes.
It's absurd. But after talking through it, he is not a suspect. Like and I'm like, is it okay if we park there? And he's like, yeah. Like there's no issue. So
fuck.
We have that suspect, right?
Uh-huh.
And we now have permission to park there.
Great.
Now, the other suspects and the other place I could have been parked, right?
Yeah.
We asked them, they say it's okay, and we have permission to park there. So there's two things happening. One, like a spouse or someone of these people that I've asked is the culprit and they haven't told their spouse. It's a flimsy thing, but I do want to explore it in a second. Or the other thing is
Rage guy.
It is Rage Guy or someone that we haven't even thought. Now, can I tell you my case for Rage Guy that all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, it's Rage Guy. And then I'm like, oh wait, it's not. Can I tell you what happened?
Sure.
He has been he keeps parking in the spot that's not in front of his house that I might have gotten the note in. And I'm like, it's interesting where he parks on that street.
Uh-huh.
If I was sharing all those parking spots, and there's about 3, if I was him, I wouldn't be parking where he's parking. So it's just interesting to me. And then I looked across the street, and I'm like, is there a reason that this guy wouldn't be parking in front of his house? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there potentially is, because there is
I feel like the stop sign is probably the reason. But there's also the side. He has the side in front of his house.
I know. Now, there is some red on the curb there by the stop sign, which I was like, so maybe that is. So he's a candidate, but it doesn't make enough sense.
It's so hypocritical.
Right.
Like, it's almost comically hypocritical because we are doing literally the exact same thing he's doing, except actually ours is around the corner from our house.
Yes.
For him, it's across the street and around the corner from his house.
Yes.
So he's even breaking this made up rule he has worse than we are, and he's calling us out for it.
Yeah, so it seems ragey.
Yeah.
Now, let me put one other thing, and then I do want to circle back to the spouse thing and get your opinion. But one other thing, have we not thought of like other potential neighbors? It's obviously none of our next door neighbors. We've ruled them out.
We don't park anywhere else.
Is there a world where the person that we've weeded out, our number one suspect, the house to the left of them, is there any world in which they would have left it? I can't imagine why.
No, because they park in front of our house all the time. This is wild.
So where are you at right now? Because
I think it's Rage Guy. I think he's fucking a psychopath. I actually saw him out today, and I almost came to get you to like.
Yeah.
But I guess he had company over. I don't know. That is, in many ways, it's a huge relief because I really, really, really like that Virgil and
we didn't want to mess with them.
Yeah, and I'm relieved to know there's no. But like, this is a perfect example of if we didn't have you in this partnership, like getting to the bottom of this, we probably would have just quietly carried on thinking that there was this weird bad blood between us and the sweet elderly couple.
Yes.
When there is none.
It really doesn't seem like it.
So I'm really relieved about that. I'm totally confused. And also, I hate to say it, but I'm starting to feel like we might not ever get the full answer.
Now, what gets complicated is now I have to ask Rage Guy.
Yes.
Which I'm very comfortable doing. But just real quick, let's circle back.
But don't go to his door.
No. It has to be a bump in.
Yeah.
It has to be a bump
in. Yeah.
It has to be a bump. And again, super friendly. Is there a world in which it was our our first all of our suspects that we ruled out, is there a world where it is like a spouse or a partner or something of theirs and that person didn't tell the people I spoke with?
Yeah.
It still seems implausible though.
Okay, let's move on. I feel like we've but thank you for the update.
I just want your thoughts on that theory. Or you're just kind of like, yeah, maybe it's that.
I think yes, it's plausible. Anything at this point is plausible, but I'm so confused.
Are you a little relieved?
Yes.
That that we actually kind of have permission.
The people, I don't care about the permission because I never cared about the permission.
See,
it never affected me, and maybe I shouldn't park. It's a free parking situation. I can park wherever the fuck I want. But I am relieved, yes, that there were no indiscretions with Virgil and his lovely wife.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's my big update.
It's a big one. Good.
Got to cross rage off, and then if it's not rage, our heads are going to be spinning.
But the thing is, if it's not rage, we're just not going to know. You can't circle back to people you've already asked. Like, you
Every
can't.
encounter I have with these people, I bring it up, then I start looking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to let it go. Let it go.
Okay.
Man, I want a drink.
Oh, I'd do an old fashioned after this.
I'm going to make an old fashioned. You know, I don't have I don't have alcoholism. I don't have like
No, I don't think so.
I don't have no, I don't.
I don't think so.
I don't have an addictive personality, I guess. I'd say the closest I would come to that would be like in my 20s when I had very cool sounding. What am I saying? I might need you to edit this.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I had binge eating disorder.
Wait. Hold on. What did you say when you had very cool
sounding? I don't know why. I'm just like it's a bummer of a mental illness, I guess, as most are. But anyway, I don't think I've ever felt like out of control in terms of an addiction. And the closest thread I can connect is to that, where I felt like out of control about it. And it was overwhelming and it took over my, thoughts and my life for a little bit. And then I got into therapy and got help. But this is very inappropriate stuff for me to be talking about to set up what I'm about to say. Just we drank a lot over the holidays, and I'm having a hard time letting go of it. Like this week back at work, I'm like, at the end of the day, I want to have a drink. It's just one.
It is really just one.
But I'm like, I need a drink.
Yeah.
Now I'm going back on Wellbutrin tomorrow.
Oh.
I wanted to thank many people messaged me and really helped me put all of this into perspective. And I think I made the decision last week when we recorded.
Okay.
Going back on it, but I wanted to wait until it was a weekend day when I didn't have, I'm going to be with the kids, but because the first few days you can feel a little like, I don't know, wired. And I just didn't want to do it when I'm working and
enjoying some me time.
I just wanted to, whatever. So I'm going back on it tomorrow. Okay. I'm curious if that will affect, because, they use Wellbutrin sometimes to treat, I think, maybe I'm wrong, addiction.
Oh, to treat addiction?
Weren't you on it for smoking?
Yeah, they do. That was a thing. I don't know if it's still a thing. It probably still is a thing.
I probably sound so dumb. Should we just erase everything I just said? I don't mean treat addiction. Of course they don't use, I don't think it. Oh, God. So annoyed with myself right now. Okay.
Don't be gentle on yourself.
I also I went up to the cabin yesterday, as you know, and was riding solo, and maybe you were going to bring the kids up. It was really icy, whatever. I left my entire everything up there, like my wallet, my IDs, my medications, my like I'm feeling a little off. So it'll be interesting to see how I feel after going back on.
And so what will that look like exactly? You just kind of start it back up,
I'm starting it back up because the other 5-ish times I've gone back on, I just started.
Gotcha.
When I went off it, I did a very long, drawn out
Tapered it down.
Tapering.
Yeah.
And I don't take like a huge high dose anyway, so I think I'm just starting.
Gotcha.
We'll see.
All right. I haven't I didn't want to take my medication in the I'm just like trying not to take it on the weekends, which is stupid because I should if I need to. But I didn't take it in the morning, and I can't tell you how many things I lost track of. I still don't know if I took my minoxidil bald pill, hair pill, and I have that on my to-do list. And now I'm like, you got to take the pill and mark it off your to-do list immediately. But if I took the pill, it was 15 minutes before I realized 15 minutes later, did I or didn't I?
Yeah.
Anyways, I was like trying to clean the house, and it was wild. Anyways, let's move on.
Well, let me just say very quickly.
Yeah.
Speaking of to-do lists, my day planner that I live and die by is up at the cabin. And when I realized that I had left it, there was such a crazy long traffic jam getting up the mountain. It would have been a 6-hour process to go back and get it. Oof. So I just left it, and I'm going to be without it this whole week, which truly is the first time I've not had, it has all of my to-do lists, all of my everything is in that day planner. And it's going to be a very big test for me in my New Year's resolution kind of vibe, which is go with the flow, to see how I do, how I can do. But I'm equal parts like terrified, but I'm also kind of excited. Like, what will life be like? It made me realize I have not had that in probably 16 years.
Now, let me ask you this, though.
Like,
this week, your appointments, do you have appointments that you also put in, like, Google Calendar? Like, or do you have appointments that are in that book that aren't in Google Calendar that you're going to have to remember?
The latter.
Which is...
I always do that. Latter is the later, so the second one.
So there's stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa, that would stress me out.
But I'm gonna like tonight kind of write down the main important ones. But you don't understand. Like it's actually kind of a problem. Like yesterday at the cabin when I was procrastinating work, I spent a crazy amount of time staring at my day planner and like coming up with other things that I should put on my to-do list. And it's both an anxiety inducing and comforting exercise for me.
Yeah.
But like making little little check marks for 7 check mark boxes for gratitude journal, 5 check mark boxes for new face, 3 check mark boxes for Pilates.
Oh, that kind of seems like getting back to
bullet journal.
Bullet journaling.
It does, but I'm like, is that good for me? I don't know. But anyway, I do think this is going to be good for me to this week not have to be living and dying by that. I'm curious about how much time of my life I spend thinking about, looking at, doing, filling out, checking boxes on this goddamn thing. And I love it. But also, I think it's become an unhealthy kind of appendage.
Well, that's really interesting. That's so interesting. I feel like you have such a great system that I've always kind of envied.
Thank you.
And I'm very happy that I finally have my system that seems to work. And it's a big relief to me because I'm not forgetting stuff as much because I'm just putting it on the list the second I think about it.
Yeah.
But that will be wild.
We'll see.
You know, and I not to take you out of the flow zone, going with the flow zone. Worst comes to worst, you could always go up for one day this week. You'd fly up there some morning and spend the day and then come back or something. You know, like that's the worst case scenario.
I really hope that I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
I don't know. You forget like a doctor's appointment or something, or a dinner date, or
I'm not going to forget a dinner date this week.
Do you have a dinner date?
We have one.
Oh, that's right. We do.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, but there you go. That's an example. If you'd forgotten it, that would be bad. Not to, God, I'm not helpful at all.
I know. I will say, so I
do you want to talk about
am
this?
down the mountain. I have the drive home on the freeway. I finally have cell service. I call Andy. You're like, I'm like, oh God, I'm so upset. I'm losing my mind. I left my bag there. Like I have my phone and my keys and my computer, thank God. But, and you're like, well, but are you going to go back? And I was like, I can't go back. It's a 6-hour process. Like it's done.
Yeah.
And you're like, but you're going to need your pills. you're going to need your day planner. Like you're starting to spiral out about it.
Yes.
And I was like, this is not help. I'm not going back right now.
Yeah,
and then
it wasn't helpful.
You were like, oh, right. I know. Sorry.
And then, yeah. And I know we had, that was a little friction in that conversation.
Yes.
And then, I feel like we got through it all.
Yeah.
To be honest, I feel like I've been, God love them, our beautiful, wonderful kids.
Oh, I love them.
But I'm ready for school to start.
Yeah, this has been an intense week. It's kind of the week in the year because I was working all week. So you were on full-time kid duty with nothing, no school, no camp, no activities.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
And it honestly, I got to say, was a pretty delightful week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this morning I was kind of like, I've kind of reached the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a story that you wanted us to tell?
A story?
You were like, I have a story I want to tell.
Oh, I was probably like teasing the car stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe. I do. I mean, can we talk about the Pokemon card thing that happened? I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's a pretty interesting parenting dilemma or thing. I don't know. There's a Pokemon fever going on in our house. And the genesis is definitely our son. And for Christmas, he got a bunch of Pokemon cards, birthday Pokemon cards. He was so lucky. You open up these little packs of cards, and there can be rarer cards in them, and sometimes they're worth money. And our son pulled like a $200 Charizard. If you know what that is, you'll be like, oh, damn.
Yeah, like a great pull.
And nothing gets the fever going in the house than that. I mean, that just gets...
That was like watching, the birth of a gambling addiction.
Yes.
Like, and I will say one of my favorite things about our son is how enthusiastic and joyful he is about things. And he shows so much, like, he's the best kid to watch opening presents because he just gets so stoked about everything. This was like, I thought he was going to combust. I mean, the amount of excitement of doing these card pulls, and he's like shaking, with...
It's infectious. So infectious that our daughter was like, you could tell, wanted to get on this as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. And so I told him this week, like, you know what? On this day, we're going to go to the Pokemon card store, and you guys each can spend $20. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and you know what? Dad's going to get a couple packs too. And you heard that, and you're like, Mom's getting a couple packs too. So we're like, we're all going to get packs of cards.
Yeah.
This will be great. So I take them to the store. They're having a blast. They each spend their $20. And you and I got 3 packs each, which is probably 2 more than each of us needed.
Yes.
But I come home, and they're so excited to go through and open all these. And so we're all like, let's do it all together. So we're all taking turns, and it's super fun, right? And then maybe it was my second pack.
Yeah.
It gets to my turn, and I open it up, and I get a glimmer of like a real kind of like flashy holographic thing, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
And we're getting excited. There's a special way to like pull the card so you save the rarest card of the deck till the end. So we do that. Anyways, long story short, we get to the end, and I got a secret rare Pokemon card. And our son noticed this, and he goes crazy, like with excitement. But that excitement so quickly turned to jealousy, I think.
Yeah.
And a painful, deep
It was a deep
jealousy.
Painful. Crying.
These were emotions he did not know how to process because it was the first secret rare ever pulled in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so much excitement then just hit a wall of jealousy. And it was kind of heartbreaking to watch. But we also, I think you and I both knew in that moment, it couldn't be a situation where I was like, you know what, bud, you can have the card. That would not have been the right move, I don't think.
Right. Well, it's interesting. Let me say this.
Please.
First of all, I was also very proud of him, though, for being able to express himself then. Because he did say, it makes me sad that Daddy got that and I didn't, and I'm feeling jealous. And we talked through it, and he's amazing.
The card was only worth like $3, by the way.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
I know,
like
it didn't.
The lore of it was a rainbow secret rare, which was like crazy. So, but it kind of, there are a few people I know in my life who have a relationship with their parents where whatever they get into, their parents, like, and now I'm seeing it sort of in a different lens, actually, but it's almost like their parents take on that thing, but better. Like, there's almost this competitive thing.
Okay, interesting.
Like, someone got into watercolor, let's say.
Okay.
And then their mom now is taking like all these watercolor courses and like identifies as a watercolor painter.
Yeah.
There was a thing of like someone really, really wanted a car when they were turning 16 and like researched this car and blah, 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 and wasn't going to get the car. But then the dad got themselves that car, but like the
even better version,
like the not, the brand new or whatever it was. Where I'm like, that's like traumatizing, and it's a bad. And there's
trauma's a good word for you to say. This did feel like a traumatizing moment.
There's a version of this story that Otis is saying in therapy in 20 years, and he's like, I was into Pokemon. It was my thing. Mm-hmm. And then my parents went and bought Pokemon card packs and pulled the first secret rare rainbow.
But bro, you got a Charizard.
No.
What are you worried about? No, I know.
You also have to remember the monetary amount doesn't matter.
I know. I think though, what's interesting is you and me got packs of cards to get in and have fun in the thing.
I think we didn't like think it all the way through. But if I could do it over, I would have not gotten us cards. Now, if it had been Teddy who had pulled it, this would be a totally different story. And it's just like, them's the kicks, kid. That's the way the cookie crumbles, and deal with it. But because it's an adult, it's a little different.
Okay, so listen, I have no problem giving him my secret rare.
Yeah,
card.
I should hope not.
So, am I supposed to do that at some point? Like, what is the move? And in what context?
I think you should.
Is it a trade? Like, does he have a card that I trade him for? Or is it like, because I do think it needs to, if,
I think he can earn it. I think it should be a surprise that you give to him
because he did something extra
because
good.
he did something extra good without being asked, without being told. He just did it.
Okay, now I want to talk to you about one thing because I do see this happening. It is his thing, but our daughter is now into it, and rightfully so. It's super fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do see a world that if she pulled something that he wanted, she'll just cave and give it to him.
I know.
And
we need to work on that too.
I don't want her to cave and give him the
I
card. I'm
know.
like, you keep that card. That's your card.
I know.
But I don't.
But we parent constantly around that dynamic where we have a very persuasive, energetic younger kid, and we have a very sweet, empathetic, thoughtful older kid. And I constantly am saying to Teddy, or I'll even interject and say, no, she's not going to give you that. That's hers. And she'll be like, Mom, it's okay. I don't blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Be like, no, but that's yours and that's not how things work. And maybe if you want to set up a trade that is like a really good trade, you could do that. But I'm constantly like, Teddy, you do not need to, like, that's something you wanted. You should keep that. That's for you.
Right.
But it's tough.
It is tough.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting, though, if you are they have a dynamic where the little one can win 99% of the time.
Yeah.
If he switches into the right gears, which you get to learn those gears pretty good when you live with somebody, right?
Yeah. But I have seen what happens. I'm not worried about Otis in this sense. Like, I don't think we're on this path. But I would say, like we're saying, the scales definitely tilt in his favor.
Mm.
But I've seen what happens when, like, the younger kid just gets everything they want, gets away with everything. It's not good. Like, it does not set that kid up for failure. I'm less worried about Teddy, actually, in some ways, and more about what that does to Otis, that he thinks he can get his way.
Yeah,
You
they're
know
both.
what I mean?
I think they're both problematic, but I think
Yes,
that
they both
also
are.
gets back to the reason that I didn't just cave and give him the card because part of me wanted to be like,
No, I'm
"This is
glad
what-
you didn't.
This is what happens." Like, I was like, I think I handled it very well.
I think you
right?
handled it very well. It was an opportunity for him to talk through complicated feelings. Yeah. He worked through it. Like, he's not carrying that around with him. But I do think you giving that as a reward is a very, like, coveted. It will be a high value, what they used to talk about in dog agility, a high value reward, which is good. I think you handled it perfectly, given, like, I'm just saying in hindsight, I'm not sure if we needed to
get in on the action.
Yeah.
So our Pokemon card pulling days are numbered?
Mine are over. And it's not just that event. I'm also just like, we don't need to be throwing money for us away on that.
I mean, they're paying for themselves, what we've pulled in this house so far, and then some. This is an investment.
Investment.
I think I'm getting out of the game too then.
Okay.
If you're stepping out of the Pokemon card game,
Yeah.
I guess I am too.
Okay.
And at some point I'll give this card in a very meaningful way. Maybe like a college thing or like good SAT scores or
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Son, I know you've always wanted this.
I want to say I really appreciate you. You're an amazing dad. I know this week has been fine, but like
it's actually been a really fun week.
It's a lot to be on, and it's been
with nothing to
rainy
do.
all week
with
nothing to do, with two kids who are already kind of stir crazy, and also like have had sensory overload from this Christmas, this holiday,
It's been a long.
the 2 weeks prior of no school, presents, food, like sugar, everything, and then you had them this whole week, and you're a great dad. You're very lucky.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for us today.
Okay.
Next week, I'll be more myself. I'm sorry if I got weird and rambly.
Well,
about
I don't think you
addiction,
did.
and I don't know.
Oh, no, you're great.
But wanted to, again, thank our patrons. If you would like to join and start checking out our monthly live streams, I'm also going to start doing, so like the patreon.com/totallylame is basically the home for all of our podcast Patreon stuff.
Okay.
Is what I've decided. So anyone who is listening to the One Sure Thing, my new podcast, who wants to support the show is doing it there.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
I'm adding stuff that's more tailored towards that, which is I'm going to read like cool obituaries I find once a week, or poetry about death.
Gotcha. Cool.
So we'll see how this works out.
I also did want to mention that if you're a Patreon, those live streams that we do, if you didn't catch it, I think you can just push play and watch it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good to know.
I think that's right.
That's cool.
And thank you. And then follow us on Instagram at Nobody's Listening Right. And keep those reviews coming.
Good night.
Good night.